Welcome back to
Unknown.
Unsolved.
Unseen.
Triple U with more guests.
Woohoo!
Yay! Welcome.
Yay!
You want to introduce yourselves?
My name is Christiana.
And I'm Bree.
And we're from the Something Strange podcast.
We're excited to be here.
Yes.
We are excited to have you here. Do you want to talk a little bit about,
Real quick, if anyone's coming from their podcast to listen, I'm Frank.
Oh, I'm Sage. That's helpful.
And we're Unknown, Unsolved, Unseen.
That's helpful. That would probably be good. Do you guys want to give a little, background on what your podcast is about?
So we do pretty much anything strange, as, the title says it all. We have episodes about strange history, cryptids, paranormal, supernatural, a little bit of true crime. We kind of cover a broad umbrella of just odd occurrences.
Ooh,
Pretty good broad umbrella,
we have a cool
too.
vibe to you guys.
Before we get into any of the fun stuff, I just want to go over some quick announcements. All the events we've been posting about are still happening. May 3rd, you got the Jersey Devil Festival in Asbury Park. We got in the middle of May, we have on the 16th and 17th, the Penhurst Paracon, where Sage and I will be going with some of our friends. And then rolling around to June, we got the Grafton Monster Festival, the Saucers over Appalachia, and the Windy City Pear Fest, all in the same weekend. But if you are interested in the Windy City Pear Fest, you can go to the link in the show notes and go to the Windy City Pear Fest and get live stream tickets, where you'll get full access to the live stream for the event and a recording of it afterwards. And you can use code UUU to get 10% off. And a good portion of this goes to Greater Than Hate. So if you're interested, go to the link in the show notes and use code UUU for 10% off your live stream tickets. That's all I had for announcements today, Sage.
Awesome. You guys ready to get into today's episode?
Yeah.
Okay. So today we're going to take it the farthest back in history that I think we've gone.
I don't know. I have talked about some prehistoric animals.
No, that's fair. We're farther back in human history.
There we go.
Wow, now you're being speciest.
Well,
hating on the ground sloths and the saber-toothed cats?
I don't know what you want me to do with that information.
Something. I don't know what I want you to do with it either, but all I know is I want you to do something.
Okay. Well, we're gonna discuss I wouldn't call it dark history. Maybe. Darker history, gray history.
What's the topic?
Mysterious death of Cleopatra. Ooh.
I know nothing about this.
What's that song? Walk like an Egyptian.
Like an Egyptian.
Yeah, they played that on the Wildcat News every single day of middle school. In the morning. It was ridiculous. But anyway.
That's random too.
I know. I don't get it.
My high school was the Tigers, so we played Eye of the Tiger so much that I cannot stand that song.
Oh my! I went to a Catholic middle school, St. Joe's, and they played Eye of the Tiger every morning, and I got tired of it.
That's such an interesting song for a Catholic school.
I don't get why. I guess they just went for the cheapest music they could get for the daily announcements.
Yeah. Solid.
But they would leave it the daily announcements would go on every smart board or whatever, and would be there. They turn it on maybe 20 minutes before it actually happened. So it's just Eye of the Tiger for 20 whole minutes and something else. I can't even remember what else, but it's only Eye of the Tiger, 2 other songs. So every day, 5 days a week, Eye of the Tiger.
Nor.
So I was in the end of my elementary school when they came out.
It was actually in my elementary that they started bringing them in, but
my school wasn't cool enough.
Not a lot of places incorporate them, but the school I went to, it was wasn't even that far into me being there. Maybe 4th grade that they put one in every classroom. Don't know where they got that money from to do that.
Catholic school money.
Catholic school of technology.
What we're saying is, guys, we're going back into really ancient history here.
Yes.
So past the smart board.
Yes. before we get started, I do want to just put a couple trigger warnings because we're going to be talking. If you know anything about Cleopatra, you know that she completed suicide when she died, as did her partner. So we're going to be talking about that. A lot of death, a lot of war. So if those are things that you did not, you didn't know that.
No, I didn't. I did not know that.
Oh well, then
I
you
did, but I took 4 years of Latin, so we had to translate stuff about it.
I was gonna say I took 2 years of Latin, so that's like what got me interested in this. So I talk a little bit about my experience in Latin later because it like came up in one of the things. But yes, so moral of the story is she completed suicide. It's very Romeo Juliet-esque, her and her partner. Though that's not the Shakespeare play that's written about her. He has one that's just called Antony and Cleopatra.
Do I say the dumb thing about what I know about Cleopatra now or later?
You can say it now. Just get it out of the way.
If anyone's heard of this, it was on MTV in the late 90s, and they did a revival of it. There's this anime show called Clone High, and Cleopatra was one of the characters, and all I know is she was like the hot popular girl in the school, and all I can remember is one of the characters was Abraham Lincoln, and his dad tells him, you gotta remember abstinence in high school, unless it's Cleopatra. And then he goes into quite the rant about how he has to get with Cleopatra. That's the first thing I think about.
Wow.
It's a show?
Yes, this was a show. It's nonsensical and stupid.
That is exactly what that sounds like.
It sounds like it's something.
It is something.
Well, I can tell you now that what you will learn about Cleopatra today directly defies this idea that she was quote unquote hot.
So more interesting than what I just said.
Yeah. So she actually was not. They don't believe she was a looker. They think that that's a myth made up in history to explain like why she was able to seduce two different like really high powerful political men. But who knows?
It couldn't be that she was very intelligent. She had to be pretty.
Yep. Exactly.
Of course, that's how history's rewritten every time.
Yeah, But all right.
You gotta take out the non-manly things and put in manly things that appeal to guys.
Oh my god.
That's how history's rewritten.
We love having the male perspective on this show, but that could go away. That was I do not agree.
Well, what? Then I think it's like Alexander the Great. I think it's believed he slept with other guys, but they like to gloss over that because that kind of feminizes him instead of makes him this great conqueror that everyone wants him to be.
Oh, no.
And that wasn't super uncommon in that time either, though.
Exactly, but you try and like gloss over that at time. Like people try and make you forget that was a common practice back then.
Because it didn't fit the morals of the time when the history was being retranslated.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
What a fun conversation.
And they were roommates.
There was only one bed.
Oh my god, roommates.
The one bed trope. Oh no.
The one bed trope, but ancient Greece and Rome.
Yeah. But all right, we ready to jump in? Everybody good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cleopatra is pretty much a household name. I'm pretty sure, at least in American schools, I feel like that's definitely something that they teach in like world history classes. I guess at least that's where I got some information, but mostly I got it from my Latin class. But the biggest thing known about her, obviously, is that she was with both Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. That was like pretty controversial at the time, but I'll go a little bit more into that in a second. But I'm going to give a little bit of a background on her. So her full name is actually Cleopatra the Seventh Thea Philopator, and she was part of the Macedonian dynasty that took over Egypt in the late 4th century BC, which is 323 BC, following the death of Alexander the Great.
Okay.
So the era began when Alexander's general, which is, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but I think it's Ptolemy. It's Ptolemy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ptolemy took over as ruler of Egypt, and he became King Ptolemy I Soter of Egypt. And over the next 3 centuries, his descendants would follow like being kings and things like that, and that is the dynasty that Cleopatra is a part of. So
Right.
it ended up being like, his ruling ended up making Egypt like one of the great powers of the world at the time, like in competition directly with Roman Empire, and like what was going on in that part of Europe. Like,
Okay.
so that was kind of like, that plays a role in like the politics of her situation. So Cleopatra's dad was King Ptolemy the 12th. And now listen, I had to brush up on my Roman numerals, all right? So hopefully I get these right. But that's XII. I know that's 12 because X is 10. And it comes before. But in case I'm wrong, everyone else can go research this because it's fascinating. You can find the dates yourself. But so little's known about Cleopatra's mom. There's a lot of speculation though that her mom was her dad's sister, Cleopatra the fifth Tryphena, which would make a lot of sense for like the era.
Ooh.
Like that was going on then. So
Ooh.
yeah.
I mean, intermarriage was also not uncommon even a couple hundred years later. Like, you'd have cousins marrying, not quite siblings, but like,
The
Yeah.
British royal family.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not wrong, but like, I don't know how else to say that.
That's fair.
That's how a lot of like you're supposed to keep the royal bloodline pure.
Yeah.
It's
well, and
like
that's
you're-
why like a lot of like the royal disease is like hemophilia, right?
Sure.
Of like the thin blood, because there was so much interbreeding is a bad way to say it, but there was so much close marriage and close
Yeah.
reproduction.
Wasn't the Romanov family, wasn't that another one that
Yeah.
had a lot of, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. Ooh, listen, look at us, little being learning things today. I love it. We can teach each other things. So something I thought was really interesting is that there's actually a lot of debate that surrounds the Cleopatra's ethnicity. So like when you
Oh.
think of her, like you think of your like typical like Egyptian ethnicity, but there's a lot who believe that she was actually a descendant from Black Africans. So she had more of that in her blood than just her Egyptian heritage. So they think she was actually darker in skin color than most of the like history books would have you believe, which I just thought was
Oh, wow.
kind of a cool fact. Like I didn't know that, so I thought that was cool. But
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Mhm.
she was born in 69 BC.
Nice.
I'm just-
I didn't know if you wanted me to say that or something else.
I really wasn't thinking you were going to say that. I was more just thinking it's astonishing that she was born in 69 BC.
You had a pause. And I'm like, what am I supposed to say here? Nice.
I
So
can't
cool.
like imagine going that far back in time. Like that just
Yeah.
it kind of makes my brain implode a little bit.
No
Definitely
electricity. I just
would've-
can't imagine it.
Oh. Ooh, I'm ready.
I guarantee they had something though. They built those pyramids somehow.
You know,
The
fun.
aliens helped them.
Yeah.
Want to hear a
Exactly.
fun fact about the
funny.
pyramids? When the pyramids were being built, 3000 BC, mammoths still lived on a remote island called Wrangel Island.
So it wasn't the aliens that helped; it was the mammoths.
Exactly.
Yeah, those big
Those
tusks.
those mammoths also died out for the same reason there are problems with royal families. Not enough in the breeding pool.
I like hemophilia.
There was like I don't know. This is just my random tangent, but there's just one had a random mutation where their woolly pelts became thin and it spread throughout the
Oh.
population, causing a crash.
Oh no!
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's you got to have a diverse gene pool,
Mhm.
and that's one thing that's never been ideal with the idea of aristocracy.
Look at that full
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah.
So the mammoths are like the royal family.
And we're in 69 BC.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I
all right.
I don't know how that just my mind works in weird ways.
So not only was Cleopatra an extraordinary politician and strategist, but she also was incredibly intelligent because during the turbulent nature of the Ptolemaic rule, Alexandria, which is like as we know it in the world, was like a hub of intelligence. I mean, we think of like the Alexandria Library, things like that.
Was
Yeah.
it Alexandria or Alexandria?
Alexandria, sorry,
Okay.
my bad. I thought I was enunciating enough.
Yeah, I was like, isn't it the burning of Alexandria? And I'm like, was I
Yeah.
wrong this whole entire time?
But that's where she grew up, and that's where that library is with the wealth of knowledge. So she was proficient in 9 different languages, which at the time is incredible because having the ability to one speak 9 languages, but also have the connections to need to speak 9 languages. Yeah, like that's huge for like that just shows how big the Egyptian Empire was at this time and how much influence
Yeah.
it had. And it also it was a distinction among the Ptolemaic rulers that they were able to speak the Egyptian language. So a lot of the rulers like
Mhm.
originally did not speak Egyptian because when you think Alexander the Great, he's more the Roman side, like
Sure.
European. And so this brought back a lot more of that Egyptian heritage to the Egyptian Empire, because they could speak it.
Nice.
Okay, so I know I already asked you guys about your initial thoughts. So I am gonna counteract at least Frank's initial thought. So
What?
Cleopatra is often depicted as an irresistible seductress who was able to captivate 2 highly ranked politicians, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, with her beauty and promiscuity. However, this is a myth that has persisted over centuries because it originated from Roman narratives following her death,
Mhm.
so that they could, again, like you said, indicate that that's her beauty is what got her into those relationships and not her intelligence. And then it was actually perpetuated by Shakespeare's play, and then further perpetuated by how she was depicted in Hollywood films. So it just kept going
Sure.
over and over again.
That's sad because it sounds like they just kind of slandered her through history.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so
Yeah.
fascinating to me is when you really like dig into the history archives, like you learn how intelligent she was and how great of a strategist she was. And then all you end up hearing later down the line is, oh, she was so pretty that she got 2 male politicians to be with her.
Yeah.
And that's
Like,
like,
dude, she knew 9 languages.
yeah,
Come on.
I
That-
barely know
Give her,
English, and it's my first language.
yeah,
That's
right.
one of the
My
interesting.
first language is sarcasm.
Yeah.
Give me some credit. Going
Yeah.
out for Cleopatra.
Yeah.
See, that's one of the interesting things. Just like back then, a lot of like high-ranking political figures, whether you're royalty or like elected, eventually, multilingual. Is it multilingualism? Is that a word? Maybe, but that was like what you had to do because I think what was it Thomas Jefferson? I think it was like 13 languages. Cleopatra 9. It's like you do that and you can like excel at life by doing that as long as you have the wealth to back it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So in reality, Cleopatra was actually considered to be very average looking, which makes me feel better. And this differs significantly from how she's portrayed in popular media, but historical artifacts actually back this up that she was much more average than we thought she was because they recently found coins. So that's there's I'll talk about it later, but there's an archaeologist who's working on trying to find her tomb, and they found coins that bear her likeness on it, and they actually feature
Mhm.
her with a hooked nose, a large forehead, and sunken eyes that challenge the traditional beauty standards that like we often appoint to her.
I wonder if that was partially due to basically what we were saying earlier, marrying, if she was born, if her aunt was her mother, if that makes sense, like that could cause physical differences in her face or in the rest of her body too, not just her face.
Yeah. I guess for me I was like I don't know like was she the highest standard of beauty at the time? Or was she actually just
Right.
average? Like, was that what people thought was beautiful at the time, and we're just using like a westernized, modern view of the way that she looked to say that she doesn't fit traditional beauty standards? Like
And when was the more
Sure.
modern looks of her show up?
Shakespeare,
Shakespeare's first time you see her as like a beautiful woman.
more yeah. Well, not really. Like in Roman narratives,
Oh,
she's
so
depicted
Roman.
as
Okay, so it started with
yeah,
Roman narrative.
but it got perpetuated by Shakespeare in Hollywood.
And I will say, like, cultures, when they take on stories and people, like, I mean, if you look at, like, oh my God, I don't even want to say this. Like, if you look at how Jesus has been taken through different cultures,
Oh,
he
sure.
matches the culture that is talking about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
you have.
Jesus wasn't white.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you
Cut that out if
most
you want to.
you have a lot of white
He also
Jesus
wasn't
out
white.
there, but he's definitely not.
No.
Yeah. But so I wonder if like maybe with Cleopatra being like this royal, very influential person, that might have shifted the beauty standards at the time. But then when the Romans got a hold of it, and then later Shakespeare, they were like, "Oh, we're going to mesh her to look like our beauty standards." Because I wonder if her being the person, because sometimes the people in power will affect the beauty standards, will affect what is aesthetically, desirable.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really great point. So I really didn't think much on that, if I'm being honest, but I think that that's a great point. And it makes a lot of sense when you think about like other people in history who have
Sure.
had that same like especially Jesus, Saint Nick, things like that.
I feel like
But
there's a decent chance that there's
Hey.
probably a lot of figures from that time period who are a lot uglier than what we take them to be. You don't have cameras. Just have art like sculptors and stuff who have to make them look good, or else dead.
And beauty is so subjective, and we
Mm.
live in a society where things can be photoshopped or makeup. Like there's people that are wonderful at makeup that do really cool things,
Mm-hmm.
but appearances can be altered.
Sure.
yeah,
So you still had makeup and stuff. Then I'm not the historian here.
yeah,
There
she
was
had a
still
lot. There was a
makeup
lot.
at the time, and yeah, people throughout history have done things like, with clothing and whatnot to alter their silhouettes. I don't know anything about how they might have done that with clothing back in this time, but I mean, corset Edwardian period is what comes to my mind. They would pad out the shoulders a little bit. The corsets, they'd bustle the skirts back. It gave you a very different silhouette as to what was fashionable at that time. And it's not because people are built necessarily that way. It was how they wore clothing and how they wore their undergarments.
Yeah, I mean, we even do that now when you think of like
Yeah.
the early
Oh,
2000s
absolutely.
and low rise jeans was like a thing, and I hope that never comes back.
It was the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, so bad.
I mean, you even look at more. I mean, as you said, more recently time. Look back to the 30s and 40s. FDR. It was not public
Yeah.
knowledge he was in a wheelchair. You
Yeah.
shape it around the fact that either he's sitting all the time or he's like walking. You can barely see his legs. I mean,
Yep.
when you are a political figure or a powerful figure, you want to look to the standard that you're setting to like the peak that a human can be, and you want the people like who you're either serving or are beneath you to see you as the ideal person.
Yeah.
So Cleopatra had her own way of doing that. So according to Sheila Ager, a professor of classical studies, Cleopatra prioritized projecting strength and authority over conforming to the conventional notions of femininity and beauty, which I just think is
Yeah, girl.
badass.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Girl, early girl boss.
Yeah, she girl bossed and she did
Girl
not go
boss.
too close to the sun. But the emphasis on her competence as a ruler rather than her physical appearance reflected her determination to be seen as an equal to her male predecessors, which is something that actually happens with Mark Antony. He treats her, while he like is infatuated with her, he also treats her as an equal, and he takes a lot of what she has to say for strategy. And that is like
Good.
how he ends up at war with the Roman Empire.
Can I just say something as maybe the uninformed in the room, but who's this guy?
Mark Antony, I'm gonna get into it.
Okay.
But it's a very household name, so but I'll tell you more.
I know who Julius Caesar is because that's an easy one, but I don't know who in the world the other guy is.
Yeah.
That's Julie.
She totally stabbed Caesar.
Yes. So Cleopatra was just 18 when her father died and the throne was left to her. And her 10-year-old brother Ptolemy the 13th in 51 BC, or Ptolemy. And it's likely that they ended up marrying each other, which was customary at the time. So they have an 8-year difference. And that was just the way it was.
Well, what? So this is Egypt we're talking about. I mean, you look at King Tutankhamun. I think that's how you say it.
I don't
King
know.
Tut.
Oh, okay.
He was what, like 10 or 12 when he died, but he had been pharaoh for a little bit.
Yeah.
But like
I think he's
no age too
a little
young in
older than
Egypt.
that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think when someone was so young that took the role, like there would be like a guardian that was kind of pulling the strings.
Like what do they call that in Game of Thrones?
Oh, regent. Isn't
Yeah,
that like the king
Yeah.
regent or queen
Regent.
regent?
yeah, because Cersei
Was
was
queen
Queen
regent.
Regent. When the kids were born. Okay.
I've never seen Game of
You love Game of Thrones, but
Except for the last season.
over the next few years after she became the pharaoh, Egypt struggled with a lot of issues, mostly an unhealthy economy and a lot of flooding, and a lot of famine.
Man, it's weird to think of the economy in 51 BC.
If you look at the coins that they found, it's incredible to me that they had mint operations that could make these coins in BC times.
I think we don't give enough
Oh, cool.
credit to technology back then, and then
Yeah,
Definitely.
that also leads to a bunch of the alien
So cool.
theories in a bunch of places in the world. But like, we were a lot more advanced then than what we like to admit at times.
yeah.
That's 100% true. There's like we don't give people in the past enough credit for like the things that they were able to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this a little bit.
That's
That's
a
right, you're
very
right.
interesting thing because it's like it's more of a fringe Western belief by someone. Like you see it pop up more and more that like, oh, it had to be like aliens or some civilization before whoever. It's like, or they just knew how to do stuff and they had the technology and we wiped out their history.
Yep.
Yeah.
So not only did that stuff define this period, but also political turmoil is. So Ptolemy and Cleopatra did not end up having children together as far as I could find. And that would be because soon after they assumed power, they began having a lot of complications between one another. And she eventually ends up fleeing to Syria, where she assembled an army to defeat her brother in order to declone the throne solely for herself. And so in 48 BC, she returns to Egypt with her military and faces her brother at I think it's Pelusium, which is located on the empire's eastern edge. And she ends up taking back over Egypt from her brother.
Wow, I did not know that at all.
Yeah. So before she was like she just was able to assemble an army in Syria to fight and get her empire back, which I just think is so chill. Like that is so cool.
So
That's insane.
what army would be out in Syria at this time?
That beats me. I just know there was one.
I was just curious because you look at the Middle East back then, you have the Israelites and I think the like some of the Muslim groups out there, but I'm not sure which ones are there at that point because like the Ottoman Empire is later on, and obviously,
Syria occupied. Oh, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say also none of the Christian empires could even exist at this point. So it's just I'm just trying to rack my brain who would be in Syria.
I wonder if the Greeks were occupying it. Because Macedonia and Greek were also very powerful at that point. So I'm trying to think who would have been in Syria.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest that I did not
Because like
look that deep into it.
places in Syria like Damascus are referenced in the Bible a lot, so it's within like the scope of the Israelis and the Romans.
Yeah.
Could have been the Romans.
Yeah. So she was doing this political war with her brother and real war. And at the same time, there was a civil war between military leaders, Julius Caesar, which is obviously most people know him.
The guy behind the salad.
And I think is it Pompey? It's like Pompey. Like it didn't Pompeii to me, like it was EI.
Pompey. Hold on.
Like
I think
Pompey.
it is.
Pompeii is spelled with 2 I's.
I think it is Pompey.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. My Latin teacher was from Russia. So I'm not sure I've pronounced things correctly.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it either.
I think it was Pompey.
Pompey that's just such a goofy
name,
I'll be honest.
Not a name you want to have as a leader. It's Pompey.
I think it might have been Pompey because Pompeii would have been when Pompeii was more Latin than Greek. Yeah. So the I's would have been E's for Pompeii, but I think it probably was Pompey.
That's what I'm thinking too. But
I didn't take Greek though, so
neither did I. So the civil war is happening between those two in Rome at the same time that a Cleopatra is taking her throne back from her brother. And eventually Pompey sought refuge in Egypt, but was actually killed by Ptolemy. So he had, well, on orders by him. So there's like all this inner conflict going on. And in pursuit of Pompey, Caesar follows him into Egypt, and that is where he meets and falls in love with Cleopatra. So he meets her in the capital because he's going there, and Ptolemy has already had orders for Pompey to be killed. And so then that is kind of what solidifies some of that connection between the two empires. Like the common, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation.
Sure.
In Caesar, though, Cleopatra now had access to enough military muscle to officially dethrone her brother and solidify her grip on Egypt as the sole ruler. And so Caesar's entire army and then her army from Syria do come together, and they defeat Ptolemy's forces at the Battle of the Nile. And then Caesar himself restores Cleopatra to the throne and makes her the pharaoh of Egypt at the time.
That's cool.
Yeah, super chill. And so she actually follows him to Rome after that. And they have a son together named Caesarion. I say it's Caesarion. Might be it's like it's Caesarion or Caesarian's the surgery. Caesarion.
I was about to say, is the surgery named after him?
No, that's that's Cean at the end. This is Ion. Caesarion, I guess. I have to be very enunciatory. But he ends up becoming a Ptolemaic co-ruler alongside Cleopatra, his mom. So they were together. Because remember, she's really young at this point. Like, she's only in her very early 20s. Unfortunately for the couple, as we probably all suspected, in 44 BC, Julius Caesar was assassinated by being stabbed in the back. And three Roman statesmen, Octavian, Mark Antony, and Aemilius Lepidus, were elected as the triumvirs to bring... It's really hard because in Latin, B's are pronounced as W's. So I don't want to say it like that, though, because I think that it would be harder for people to understand. But I'm pretty sure it's technically triumvirs, and not triumvirs, to bring Caesar's assassins to justice.
I just say, R.I.P. Caesar, may the salad live on in his name.
Yep. This is my favorite salad, so.
That's a good salad. It is. It's a good salad.
Jesus died for your sins, but Caesar died for your salad.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That is a feral button.
Oh no.
Only real ones know that.
Oh my god. Okay. So
she has a whole list of feral buttons, by the way. That was not just a joke.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna make like pin buttons. And I have a whole list of just insane things to put on that.
I absolutely love that.
I'm very excited.
That is so cool. So, one of the three, Lepidus, ends up marginalizing Africa. And so then, like that part of the empire. And then, so Octavian and Mark Antony then divided control over Rome, like the rest of the Roman Empire, between the Greek East and the Latin West. And so Antony takes over the Greek East, Octavian takes over the Latin West. And Mark Antony sends for Cleopatra and brings her back to Rome in an effort to get her to answer questions about her allegiance to Julius Caesar, because he, like, part of his thought is like, was she part of the plot to assassinate him so that she could take more power over the Roman Empire?
It's always the wife.
Yeah. So this is where it gets funny.
Did she have an insurance plan? No.
Did she have an insurance?
Yeah, exactly.
Did she take insurance out?
The son. That was her insurance plan. Her son was Caesar. But
Yeah.
Well,
so Cleopatra agreed to come to Rome, and everywhere I looked, they quoted it as saying that she made a lavish entrance into the city of Tarsus, Sicilia. Is it Sicilia? Sicilia?
Cicely?
Cicilia.
Cecilia.
That's what I was thinking. It was I'm really bad at pronunciation.
You should look at your computer every time, not me, because I did not take Latin. I poorly took 2 years of Spanish and learned nothing. You should be asking the other person who knows some Latin, not me. Don't look to me. I got no answers.
What happens with us is Latin gets thrown to me, any other language.
Nice.
I make an attempt.
I put pronunciations at even, and I'm like, how do I say this?
Yeah.
I really should
I
have
try.
like wrote them out.
I can enunciate words for like different languages when it comes to random cryptids, but
Yeah.
when it comes to Latin, oh Lord, help me.
Oh Lord.
Latin's phonetic though. Once you know what each of the
Yeah.
letters sound like, it's pretty easy. French was like my nemesis a couple episodes ago.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, that was fun.
That was horrible. I was like, I'm never doing anything that's French.
French again.
Man, I did our one episode was the cryptid saber-toothed cats. Almost all of them were named by French people. I didn't know like I'm like I don't know this
dang
at
those
all.
French people. Dang those French
It
This
was like
is the baguette
The filet mignon.
it was like
Oui, oui.
it was like the first one was like Tigre de Montaigne or Montagna or like I'm like I don't know how to say mountain in French. All I know is there's a character in a video game named Mountain in French, and I don't even know how to say it in that
Oh
game.
my god.
But
Yeah.
it all went downhill from there because then you get French names, indigenous names, and then we jumped over to South America and got Spanish names. I'm like, oh man, I am cooked on this episode on mispronunciations.
So Antony would go on to become absolutely entranced by Cleopatra's personality, which I was very surprised that is what I read. I would
Yeah.
guess that her beauty would have something to do with it. I thought more people would say that about her because we consider her the seductress, but a lot of people said it was her personality that drew him in,
Yeah.
actually. And so they began an affair together in what likely 41 BC, like just after, or 45 BC, sorry. Just at, no, 41. I'm going backwards. 41.
You
That's
go
after,
down in years.
yeah, 41. I was
It's
right.
weird sometimes when you think of BC
I
because
was
you go
right with what I
down.
wrote. I was second guessing myself, but I was right with what I wrote. It's 41 BC. He actually becomes unfaithful to his wife and has an
Ooh.
affair, love affair with Cleopatra.
Hey, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do that. Like,
don't.
you know it's Cleopatra, don't do that.
It starts part of a
It's nice.
war, as well. So definitely don't do that.
Oh, good.
Well, so she starts the affair.
So they have an affair, yeah.
So it's probably seen bad for the Romans. So they gotta.
It's real bad, because Cleopatra reportedly convinced Mark Antony to leave his wife, and her name was Octavia Minor, and she was the sister of Octavian, the ruler of the Latin West.
So that's why you'd probably need to spread the rumors that it was she seduced him and she was this beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta justify it. Don't blame the man, blame the woman is how you do it back then.
So for 9 years, he has an affair with Cleopatra before he officially divorces Octavia Minor in 32
Wow.
BC.
Officially
Yeah, commit,
divorced
Danny.
or like
Yeah, he officially divorces her in 32
that
BC.
was the thing back then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They had, I'm telling you, they had way more modernized cultures than we think that they did.
And then we reverted back for a couple hundred, well
Yep.
over 1,000 years.
Though they do believe he had likely already married Cleopatra during this time anyway, in 34 BC
No.
at the donations of Alexandria. And so
Okay.
they think he was actually married to both of them for 2 years before he
Jeez.
officially cut ties with Octavia. Which was really cool. My name in Latin class was Octavia, obviously pronounced Octavia. But I picked it because I knew about the ancient history and I was like, ooh, Octavian, that sounds cool. I should be the feminine version of that. And then I picked that.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah,
But-
that's cooler than me. I was just Sebastian. And
that's so generic.
That was me in Spanish class, but it was Sebastian.
In Spanish, I was Carmen.
Okay, you just made
My
fun of
brain
mine. You're just
No.
My brain goes to the musical.
Oh.
No, it was German that I was
Right,
Carmen.
the opera.
We are
Not musical, opera, sorry.
I don't remember what I was in Spanish, but in German I was Carmen. My bad.
you had something in Spanish, German, and Latin.
Yeah, we took Spanish in elementary school. I took German in middle school and Latin in high school. I love learning languages. It's like one thing that I was like weirdly good at. I just never did it.
Cool.
We did German and Spanish in middle school, and then you could choose a language in high school. So I did Latin.
Okay.
I don't remember what
Yeah.
any of my names were in any of the classes.
I was always bad at it. I somehow found some loophole in our high school to get out of doing language. I don't think it should have been allowed, but I somehow wiggled my way out of taking the third year.
You only had to take 2.
No, you were supposed to take 3.
No, 2 years of language.
Oh, no. I wiggled my way out of college. Because college, you were supposed to have, like...
You were supposed to have 2. At least Penn State, I think, had rules for that.
I thought they wanted me to have 3, and I somehow wiggled my way out of it.
Well, either way.
Yeah, I was supposed to do one in college, but I finagled my way. That's how we do things.
Yep.
Cut
So-
corners.
Mark Antony and Cleopatra would go on to have 3 kids together. So they had twins, Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene, which is, to me, is incredible for that time to have twins.
Cleopatra Selene.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
The
That where
way
Celine Dion comes
I
from?
would, if my name were Cleopatra Selene, that would be, I wouldn't be able to introduce myself any other way. It'd be my full name every single time.
Oh,
Is that like a
absolutely.
nod to the moon?
What'd you
Is
say?
Is that like a nod to the moon? The Celine part?
Is that? I don't
probably
know.
they had a lot to do
It's
with
like ringing a bell somewhere in
Well, it would almost make sense, because what was the other one's name?
Helios.
Helios, so that's the sun.
Alexander Helios.
Yeah.
So sun
That's
and moon.
cool.
Yeah.
That would,
The
that's
duality.
really
And then they had a younger
Very
son,
cool. Yes.
What was the
Yeah.
younger son's name?
Ptolemy Philadelphus.
Not as cool as the other 2.
Philadelphia.
You just go to the functions like, here's...
Here's Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene. And oh, by the way, that one over there is Ptolemy Philadelphus.
That would have been some kind of, because the Philadelphia I would imagine would be somehow connected to the word love.
Yeah, because it's the city of love.
Well, because like
So
Philadelphia.
is that where
is famous
Philadelphia
for-
comes from?
Yeah, because Philadelphia comes from like there's different kinds of love in Greek.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
There's, like, the Philios, the arrow,
Agape.
agape. Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't
pretty
know all
Greek, but I'm
that.
just
But I did know Philadelphia had something to do with love.
I just knew it was a
Love,
city
yeah.
of brotherly love, and I thought it was something.
Well,
for-
Phila, like the Philia is like is brother, I think, right?
in Latin. Yeah,
In Latin.
I think the P is more of the like the familial love.
Yeah,
in Greek.
because I
And
think of like
Delphia.
well, I would think Delphi, like Delphi,
Yeah.
I don't know.
which
Man.
is Greek, right? Delphi is Greek.
Yes, it is.
yeah.
Welcome to Etymology 101.
I just thought they named it Philadelphia, and then people were so kind to each other they called it the city of brotherly love for that reason. But apparently, I don't know shit.
That's a really romantic version of that.
Just a bunch of
Yeah,
guys who
my
liked each other. People were friends with each other. But no, there's actually meaning behind the name.
But
Mm.
anyway, love it.
Me, clueless.
That's okay. So Cleopatra would play a very significant role in the politics of the Mediterranean area. So having it in with multiple rulers was very important to her developing strategy. There's not really a lot of word on whether it was on purpose that she had these affairs with people or if she genuinely loved, like, whatever it may be. Either way, it worked in her favor. So she strived to maintain Egypt's independence while also navigating power struggles of the Roman Empire because she's with Mark Antony, but she doesn't want Egypt to be taken by Rome. So
Sure.
instead, Antony, who presided over Rome's eastern areas, saw in Cleopatra the chance for financial and military support to secure his own rule over his empire. And so she had her own motivations. And so in exchange for her help, she requested that Egypt Egypt return to be its own eastern empire, including parts of Lebanon and Syria. So she said, I will allow you to use my men and my military to take back Rome for yourself, as long as you don't force Egypt to become a part of the Roman Empire. And
Smart.
reportedly, he agreed. That's my understanding. He said, okay.
But did he uphold his end?
They didn't really have a chance to do that. Because
Oh.
But I'll get to that in a little bit. But in 34 BC, Antony meets Cleopatra in Alexandria. And again, they kept calling it a triumphant flare. So, like, these people, they're just, like, entering cities in, like, the utmost fashion. Like, I don't know what that was for the time. But it was apparently very epic.
I mean, you're still in a time of royalty and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just love it, because I'm like, that's so fun. Like, triumphant flare. Like, woo.
I imagine the scene in Aladdin when she comes in as like Prince Ali.
Yeah.
and there's like a music number.
Yes,
Prince
exactly.
Ali, fabulously.
That's so funny because you started singing that, and my head went to Prince Ali, Where Can He Be? Drowning in Wawa, which is from there's a guy online his on YouTube, his name is Paint. And like I think Paint
Paint.
something. And he did like parodies of Disney princesses. And so he took the tunes of their songs and wrote like what happened to them after their happily ever after. And so like it like goes into like the very dark eras, but it is so I bought both of them on iTunes like a decade ago because I love them so much. So I know all the words to these. And that's like the first thing that I thought.
Amazing.
I will be
I
honest.
love it.
I remember this song when you said Prince Ali. I thought of that too.
Prince Ali, where can he
The rest
be?
of the lines are not as okay to say.
Yeah, interrogation.
Interrogation from the nation of free. We're not trained pilots at all.
Jafar went crazy. No one put up with us. We're for freedom. Genie can vouch for us. So bad. Okay, anyway. Sorry, Pain. I love your song. It's okay. Anyway, so a bunch of people would swarm.
Busted up in this movie, is what we're saying.
So they would swarm the gymnasium to catch a mere glimpse of the couple seated on their golden thrones.
Gymnasium.
That's what they call it, yeah. Which is like the area where the thrones were.
Yeah, I just thought like gym class.
You were ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're so modern. Think ancient, Frank.
How did we go from that being a gymnasium to like modern day gymnasium?
Because I think sports were played there. Sports were played in front of the thrones.
Yeah, sports ball. Woo.
So I mean, like when you think of like jousting in like European history, like British history, the kings would sit up on stands and then you would joust in front of them. So it was the same kind of thing. So sports, like sporting events.
Sports were kind of lame back then. They didn't have ice hockey.
That's true. The chariot racing though, which is super dope. But the golden thrones were elevated on silver platforms, and then they actually had seating for each of their children beside them as well. So there was a lot, like the power structure of the way that they ruled together was very different than a lot of other places because they put a lot of stock into like Mark Antony put a lot of stock into Cleopatra, and together they also raised their kids very similarly with a lot of like mutual respect, really, which I thought was like pretty interesting. So
yeah.
However, Antony would go on to make things more difficult for the relationship between Cleopatra and Antony and Octavian, more so than just the divorce from Octavian's sister, because he declares Caesarion, that's the son of Cleopatra and Julius Caesar, as Caesar's real son and legal heir, which was very controversial for the time because Julius Caesar never claimed him as his own and actually adopted Octavian, who should have then been the legal heir. Wow. So it was like a big deal that Antony came out and was like, actually, you're not the legal heir. His son, who he had with my lover, is the real king of Rome. Well, Octavian was not about to take this sitting down. And so he seizes the will of Antony and informs the people of Rome that Antony put in his will that he would turn over all of his possessions to Cleopatra and that Alexandria would become the Roman capital if he were to die and Cleopatra were to stay alive. So Antony's like, hey, Roman people, or Octavian's like, hey, Roman people, Antony's about to betray us all. In his will, it says he's going to give all of our shit to Cleopatra in Egypt if he dies. So, like, we gotta fit, like, this is ridiculous. So, Antony's divorce from Octavian's public revelation of Antony's will outlining Cleopatra's ambitions for Roman territory, and her continued illegal military support for Mark Antony, who's a Roman citizen still at the time, without her not having an elected office, convinced the Roman Senate, who now was completely under Octavian's control, to declare war on Cleopatra. And so...
on Cleopatra herself.
Yeah. Like, because...
Not on Egypt.
Yeah. On Cleopatra. Because to him, she's the reason for all of this turmoil that's going on. His sister is heartbroken. She's been divorced. He is fighting now with another person who is part of the triumvirate and all this stuff. So he's like, Cleopatra, fuck you. Like, you are the reason that all this shit is going down.
Imagine just, like, a country just declaring war on you as a person. Be like, I'm
Yeah,
out.
that
You-
would
You better have some backing then.
say both
Yeah, like,
badass and also
hey.
terrifying.
Right. Well, because I would worry, like, if I were in that situation, I would think, like, oh, is my own country going to turn on me? Because they didn't declare war on my country, they declared war on me. So they give me up, they're safe.
Yeah,
They're like,
exactly.
"Stick me underground.
Yeah.
Goodbye."
The goal is for Cleopatra to be killed so that if Mark Antony dies, he cannot give his possessions to her. And so that's why they go
Sure.
after her. Does not work well.
He's trying to murder her without making it look like a murder.
Still a murder, though. It's a declaration of.
Yeah, but it's instead of him, like, getting his hands dirty and being like, oh, I'm just going to kill her. I'm going to just assassinate her. He's
Yeah.
spinning it to get everyone on his side.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
How famous do you have to be assassinated versus murdered?
I think it's just more formal. Like, I think being murdered is more formal.
An assassination is still a murder by, like, I think, definition.
Yeah, but I feel like a formal declaration of war is different than, like, going and assassinating someone. Like, no one formally declared war on Abraham Lincoln. Like, he was assassinated. It was, like, not a plan. It wasn't formal.
Yeah.
JFK, like, was not formal.
The
Well, could have
CIA
been.
declared war against him,
Yeah, could have been.
and then they used a
Ooh.
magic bullet.
Yeah, anyway. JFK is a different episode. We'll do that.
So is Lincoln.
Yeah. Did not go well for Antony and Cleopatra, unfortunately,
For
though.
some reason, I thought you were going to say did not go well for JFK.
It didn't for him either.
That too.
It
That
sure
too.
did. Sure did not.
So, following their defeat in the naval battle of Actium at the Ambracian Gulf of Greece in 31 BC, Cleopatra and Antony retreat back to Egypt to recuperate and prepare for what they know is an assault coming from Octavian. So, Octavian's forces at this time are growing daily because a lot of Mark Antony's forces are surrendering to Octavian's army. And so he's losing almost all of his officers and soldiers who are stationed in Greece at this time. And then Antony's naval fleet and cavalry would also soon defect from the army, which would then leave him with very little warriors and an inability to defeat the large forces. Because you remember, Cleopatra has her own like warriors as well, but she needed Mark Antony's soldiers to be like a powerhouse for military, and now they've lost almost all of Antony's soldiers. So there's no way they can defeat Octavian at this point. And after a long period of failed negotiations, Octavian's forces invade Egypt early in 30 BC. And so he now is moving closer and closer to Alexandria. And so in like around that time, they have this feeling of impending defeat. And so Cleopatra has a 2-story mausoleum quickly constructed on the palace grounds next to a temple dedicated to her alter ego, which is the goddess Isis. So she's very connected to the goddess Isis, which plays a huge role in the theories around her death.
Huh.
So Octavian's closing in on Alexandria, and that's where Cleopatra's at. Antony is like out and about with his forces, like trying to lead them, trying to fight back Octavian. So they're not together in Alexandria at this time. And so she withdraws to her tomb with her 2 closest attendants, I think Charmian and Arios, and she sends a message like out that if anyone asks for her to tell them that she died by suicide, so that no one comes looking for her and no one tries to come and kill her, because that the goal is not to die for her. And so just to tell anyone she's already dead. And because at this time too, she had thought that Antony had been dead as well, because of how many troops had defected to Octavian's army, and belief that Octavian at that point was already like nearly in Alexandria. But unfortunately for her, Mark Antony was still very much alive at the time, and he came back to the palace to look for her and was told that she died. And so he orders his slave Eros to kill him, but instead Eros kills himself with his sword instead because he doesn't want to. And so
That's a dedicated man right there.
yeah, and which is
So,
crazy.
Well, actually, I think. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, can I just clarify something really quick? So at this point, Cleopatra is not actually dead.
Yeah, she's not.
Still alive.
Yep. She is still alive.
Oh
She's
my
just hiding in her tomb, in her mausoleum.
Yeah, she's putting the word out so that she doesn't have it. Okay.
Yeah, because if Octavian thinks she's already dead, then he's not going to come any farther into Alexandria.
Huh.
And so
Right.
her palace will stay safe. But she's still alive.
But
But Mark Antony thinks that she's dead.
And so then he asks his
And
slave
she-
to kill him. But I would think also the slave wouldn't kill him, because if he kills him, the only word to say that he asked me to kill him is a slave's word, which I don't think people would believe. So he's basically dead regardless here.
right.
Yeah. So
And she would Cleopatra wouldn't have thought to tell anyone, hey, if my husband asks, let him know I'm actually alive, because she assumed he was dead.
exactly.
No, she's trying to escape that child
my
support.
gosh.
Oh my god. In despair, though, so Eros kills himself instead of killing Antony. But in despair, he's so heartbroken, Antony ends up stabbing himself through the stomach with the sword, and he inflicts a fatal wound on himself. So he reportedly stated, "Why delay any longer? Fate has snatched away the only thing for which I still wanted to live." And so then I wrote, "So romantic," with a winky face, because that I would love to have someone think about that for me. You're gonna kill yourself on a sword?
Can I just ask this though? Where are their children?
I was just
all
thinking
that?
that too. I'm like, where are
He's
these?
like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
my kids, whatever. Yeah.
Kids don't matter at this
God.
point.
I don't know where they were at
Yeah.
this time, but they end up being captured by Octavian. So I'm assuming that they were like elsewhere in the empire at the time, but then they're brought back to Alexandria. So one of the main writers, like Roman writers, that tells the story of Cleopatra is this guy named Plutarch. So I'm gonna use a lot.
Plutarch.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a lot of what he says for the remainder of the story, because that's just how it's written out. So he states that Antony was still alive, though he was dying, and so he ends up being carried into Cleopatra's tomb and finds out she's still alive. Because remember,
Awkward.
the tomb is erected for both of them to be buried in. And so he tells her in his dying words that he was going to be dying honorably for her, and that she could trust Gaius Proculius on Octavian's side to treat her well. So he's like, "Listen, I got it in with Octavian. You can trust this guy." Bad idea. Just gonna put that up. Bad idea. Not good.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. So we aren't sure if it, like, I couldn't find out if it was this guy, this Gaius, who secretly warns her on August 9th of that year, the 30 BC, that Octavian was planning to leave to go back to Rome and take Cleopatra and her children with him, because at this point it's found that she's still alive. So Antony is dead, and now it's found that she's still alive because other people are in the palace, and he gets taken to her tomb. And so this person, whoever in Octavian's army, says, "Cleopatra, he's about to take you and your children back with him to Rome so that he can use you as a political pawn on the throne, and use your children as well, to utilize Egypt as a force for himself." Very rude. Um, but this, though, leads her to hide away. She runs back, like, she ends up getting away from his men somehow, and she goes back and she hides back in her tomb. This is like her favorite place to be. So I don't know.
Next to her dead husband.
Yo,
Yeah.
demons, it's your boy.
Yeah. Gaius, though, the guy who Mark Antony said Cleopatra could trust, ends up betraying her because he uses a ladder to breach a window of the tomb and detain her inside of it before she could have a chance to burn herself to death along with all of her treasure.
She was like, burn herself to death?
That's what reportedly what her plan was going to be, was to burn herself to death.
That's like the most painful way to go out.
But with all of her stuff. She wanted all of, like, Egyptian treasure to be burned too, so that they couldn't take it to use it for currency or anything like that.
Not to be morbid, but depending on where the fire was started, she probably would pass out from, like,
smoke inhalation.
Yeah, before she would actually burn.
Probably preferable.
And truthfully, I think that would probably be a better way of going than what they think she did.
Yeah.
Which I'll explain a little bit.
It's still awful, but
yeah.
Listen, I'm great at trivia.
Yeah.
I'm great at trivia now.
I love that. So
what a way.
With Octavian's approval, surprisingly, he allows Cleopatra to have Antony's body embalmed. And but like she's detained. She's with her 3 kids, and he lets her embalm Antony's body because she wants him to have a proper burial in the tomb that she had erected. And Octavian actually allows her to do that, which I think is kind of crazy.
Can I clarify one more thing?
Yeah.
Occurred to me as well. When she ran to her tomb, when she was planning to burn herself to death, did she have her children with her?
No.
No. Okay. Like
Yeah.
it's horrible to like burn yourself, but like was gonna like push.
I did not read anywhere that she had her children with her in any of the instances where she tries to take her life.
Okay.
I also know in the ancient world, like having a proper burial is really important because if you didn't, you wouldn't be able to move forward into the afterlife. Like I don't know if you have to read Antigone.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the main things. Like
yeah.
So I think it was Antigone that like the brother didn't get an actual burial, so like his soul wasn't able to.
Yeah, that's why like tombs for like the Egyptian royalty was so important and so valued, because that was like their direct path to the afterlife was them and their treasure that was in there.
Whatever is buried with you goes with you. That's why your pet got buried with you. I think sometimes
your slaves and your like Cleopatra, for instance, when she ends up completing suicide, both of her like I would call them, I don't know I forget what I call them.
Slaves, servants.
Servants, yeah, like end up going with her.
Willingly or
reportedly willingly. I don't know, but I'll get to that in a second.
But yeah, you're right, burial's a big thing back then. I mean, I just think of the Vikings and the burning ship and all that stuff. If they actually did that. I don't know if they actually did or not, if that's just fantasy.
Yeah. So during her detainment, with like when Octavian has her detained, reportedly she tells him, "I will not be led in triumph," meaning that she'd rather die than stand by his side in his empire. And he gives no answer on whether her life would be spared. But in order to get her to comply with him, he ordered his men to keep her talking on the promise that her son would be allowed to rule Egypt after her death, so that she would not kill herself. Like it was if they keep her talking to them, then she doesn't have the chance to kill herself. So like essentially she's placed on house arrest. And Octavian sets out to go into the city of Alexandria, and calm the citizens of the area and letting them know like your pharaoh is still alive. We're working together. I'm like yada yada. He's trying to get them to like come to the Roman Empire side of things. Very like
he's trying to make himself look like a good guy after he declared war on them.
Yeah. And then he becomes an asshole because he inspects the tomb of Alexander the Great, and then helps himself to the treasures that are
you're gonna be so cursed.
Yeah, a bunch of the tombs.
So cursed.
Yep. So they call them maidservants. Following day, though, Cleopatra ends up escaping this house arrest. She locks herself away in the mausoleum with 2 of her maidservants, the same ones from earlier, sends a note to Octavian, and that letter says, "I want to be buried next to Mark Antony. I want to be in the tomb next to Mark Antony when I die," which is where she's at. So I want a proper burial in the same place that Mark Antony is at. And despite being guarded by one of Octavian's men, she was able to deceive him, and they were able to kill themselves before Octavian could get to them. Because he receives this letter, and he goes, "Oh my god, she's going to kill herself. We need to get there immediately." But by the time they get there, it's stated that she was found with the one handmaiden Arius dying at her feet, and then Charmian was adjusting her diadem, and then she also died. And one of Octavian's men apparently demanded of the maidservant, "Was this well done of your lady?" To which the servant replied, "Extremely well done, as befitting the descendant of so many kings." Because to them it was better for her to complete suicide than it was for her to go with Octavian. So it was an honor, in a sense, that she took her own life rather than surrendering the Egyptian empire. Like, and they talk a lot about how she approached her suicide in almost like a ritual kind of way, because there was like she bathed and then she had her final meal that was brought to her like with figs in a basket. Like, so it was very like ritualistic, very ceremonial before she completed that suicide. It is a little unclear if the suicide actually took place in the tomb or if it was in the palace, because the timeline of understanding when she went into the tomb is a little iffy. But I do believe it was in the tomb, because that's where she was on house arrest at. That's where they detained her. But I just want to say out there, I'm not 100% sure for sake of clarity or transparency. But it's claimed that upon discovery of finding her body, Octavian calls a trained snake charmer of the Salii tribe of ancient Libya to attempt an oral venom extraction and revive Cleopatra because they find that she has died and they think it's from a snake bite because there's 2 puncture wounds on her arm. The efforts were fruitless. She would remain dead.
Is it an asp? I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the theory. An asp or a cobra.
Okay.
So Octavian's outraged.
Oh, what?
An asp. ASP. It's a type of snake in Egypt. I talk a little bit about it, but
Okay, I know what a cobra is.
yeah, Octavian believes that he was robbed of full splendor of his victory, but he still has Cleopatra interred next to Antony in their tomb as they requested, and he also gave her maidservants proper burials as well. I know. I was really surprised when I read that. I was like, after all of the shit that got put together through that, he still gave them their proper burials, and that just really goes to show how important that burial is. Even he could recognize that despite being my rival and enemy, you still deserve.
Did he actually do it, or did he tell people he did it?
He actually did it, as far as historians can figure out, because they found other burials.
I wonder too if it could be as part of the burial ritual, and I'm not trying to spew this as fact. This is a question. If they believed not only will this person, the soul, not be able to move on, but if they would then be haunted, I guess, or like almost cursed with this, like, you didn't let me move on, and now I'm gonna make you pay for it. Like, I'm curious if that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You would also be, I believe, dishonoring the Greek gods if you weren't giving someone a proper burial. So he might be worried about that too.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
I think I'm going back like
many
over 10 years in my head at this point. Like 12, 13 years ago in my head. But I think there was something about like if someone doesn't give a proper burial, then there's like it's something to do with the Greek and Roman gods as well. And I'd imagine that's also something that's burials and death rites were important throughout the ancient world. I'd imagine it could have been a respect thing as well.
Sure.
I did read somewhere that there is this belief that Caesarion goes on to rule part of the dynasty because they say that Octavian would allow him to do that. But they actually believe, though, that he was actually executed at the same time as Cleopatra died. So in 30 BC, and didn't actually rule, but they wanted Octavian to have that like positive like view in the world, and so they made it look like he followed through with his promise to Cleopatra that her son could rule.
Yeah.
But Octavian likely had him killed because his companion or friend Arius Didymus is quoted as saying, "Too many Caesars is not good." So,
too many Caesar salads good?
Probably not. So, so the year 30 BC was considered the first year of the new ruler's reign, which would be Octavian, that like begins Egypt becoming a part of a different empire. I will say that the 3 children between Cleopatra and Antony were spared. They end up getting sent to Rome, and Cleopatra Selene eventually marries Juba II of Mauritania, and then she like went forth in her life, and so did both of the other ones, as far as I could find.
Good.
So what really happened to her? Obviously, I hinted at one theory that she was bitten by a snake. That is very controversial, though. They don't actually believe that was the case, and there's a good bit of evidence that supports that it not being the case. But they believe that it was between August 10th or August 12th that she died. It was like there was no definitive date. Again, ancient history is like not that easy to chronicle. So, but the snakebite theory is the most well known. It's thought that she was bitten by either an asp, that's a small viper, or an Egyptian cobra, which would have been particularly poetic for her, because the asp was a symbol of royalty to the Egyptians, and the cobra was associated with Isis, who was Cleopatra's alter ego. But there's a few issues with this. The first point is that cobras were typically at least 5 feet long and could grow up to 8 feet. So they believe that would be way too large for her to smuggle into her tomb via the basket of figs.
That is big for a snake, but damn. I'm pretty sure the king cobra gets up to like 20 feet.
Yeah,
I was
well, at the
honestly
time,
thinking
I'm
this.
assuming that's big.
I was thinking this cobra would be larger.
Yeah. Also, not all snake bites are deadly, and those that are end up killing their victims very slowly and very painfully. So no one's sure
Yeah.
that she
I
would
was
want to inflict that on herself.
Well, typically, if you get, even if you have the puncture wounds, I believe on a snake bite like that, you should be able to see the dead like veins by the snake bite, if I'm not mistaken.
gonna say, I wonder if it would have shown evidence of necrotized flesh
Yeah. Well,
around the area.
I believe you're right there. You see necrotized flesh or like the veins there where it injected to necrotize.
Yeah.
And you'll see
Like
like
blood poisoning.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't know that they would know what that is in ancient times, but maybe they.
I mean, they would maybe know that it should show signs besides just the 2 puncture wounds, or else then you're thinking of the. I don't think you thought of this in your theories, but were the 2 puncture wounds?
On her inner arm.
Could be a vampire.
Sure. They also believed that it was unlikely that the snake would be able to kill Cleopatra and her 2 maids in the time that it took for Octavian to receive her note and then send his guards there. I found the statistics for a cobra bite, and that it's 175 to 300 milligrams of a neurotoxin, and it's lethal to humans with only 15 to 20 milligrams. So it is likely that if she was bitten by a cobra, it would have killed her, but it still would have taken several hours, despite it being an overload of toxins to her system.
Looking at what I'm seeing, it should necrotize and like turn
Okay.
blackish, and also should swell.
Interesting.
I looked at pictures and I kind of regret it.
Yeah.
It's possible that she wanted to poison herself to death. She's very intelligent. She had a lot of understanding of like poisons and things like that. By either drinking a lethal herbal concoction or applying a toxic ointment to her skin. Many people believe that this is more likely because that would have killed her far more quickly, and way less painfully than a snake bite would have.
What about the classic cyanide? You can never go wrong there.
Sure. Cleopatra's personal physician, Olympos, mentioned neither a cause of death nor an ass bite, or an Egyptian cobra in when he was entombing her, or interring her next to Antony. But it's believed because there was those 2 puncture marks on her inner arm. But a lot of people actually believe that she collected venom from the snakes and then used a hairpin to scratch the skin open on her arm and introduce the toxin that way.
Okay.
And because for some reason, I guess that would be fat. I don't know if it would be faster, if it would be like a less conspicuous method.
I think you'd see the same evidence that you'd see
I think
with
you would
snake
too,
bite.
but that's a lot easier than sneaking a snake in via a basket of figs.
More controlled too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could almost access a vein more directly if you get. I love weird medical stuff. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
If you get bit by a snake and it goes muscular, the venom is not gonna metabolize as quickly through your body. I would assume if you got bit through a muscular puncture versus if you had poison injected or venom directly into a vein. Sorry,
That's true.
stop talking.
That's true. There's also a theory that maybe she bit her own arm and introduced the venom that way. I highly doubt that one.
Well, if you get those 2 marks,
a
that she was
vampire.
secretly a vampire.
Yeah, sure. So again, they believe that it's more likely that she either drank the venom or whatever, but
Does drinking venom kill you?
probably
I
she drank it or she injected it.
I would guess it would probably kill you. I don't know for certain.
I would say
I would imagine
your mouth, your mouth has a lot of that's why they say gummies for vitamins and stuff is actually more beneficial than swallowing pills because it's a direct pathway to your bloodstream.
Here,
It's
so
close to your brain too.
sorry, I was going to say a fact. I looked it just before I said this and didn't want to sound stupid. Venoms are generally not toxic if swallowed.
Oh, interesting.
Which is an interesting thing. That's one of the things. Poison has to be ingested. Venom has to be injected. That's why snakes are not poisonous. They're venomous. Spiders are venomous, not poisonous. Eels are poisonous, not venomous. Injection versus ingestion is the big difference between poisons and venoms.
I
Because
did
you
not know
can
that.
put certain poisons on yourself, you're perfectly fine. You swallow that thing, you're done for. Same with venoms, vice versa. Inject it, you're dead. Swallow it, you're typically fine.
That's fascinating.
That is wild.
Mhm.
It's such a fun fact. It's also why I can correct everyone when they say a poisonous snake, because it ain't poisonous.
Whatever. You know, I'll just keep
It's
saying
it's a
what I
little
say.
it's a little pet peeve of mine.
But again, it's a lot of people's theory is that it's very improbable she would have been able to smuggle a snake that size into her tomb. But something that you guys said earlier too is that how the hell was she was get it to behave, like to wrangle it, to bite her and then two other people? Like, there's no
Right.
way you're gonna get a snake to do that. I just don't believe. Even the greatest snake whisperer probably would not be able to do that.
No.
I wrote, I don't know if Frank can answer this, but do snakes bite unprovoked or do they have to be provoked?
It depends on the snake. There's typically something provoking it. Like a rattlesnake's more defensive. A cobra, I think, is more defensive, but some snakes, like a black mamba, more territorial and will chase you down.
Oh, that is literally terrifying.
The black
Oh
mamba is
my
one
god.
of the most dangerous snakes in the world, and it's
Where
in
could,
Africa.
oh, I'm
I
never going
believe
to
it's
Africa.
West Africa. But the
Never
black
going.
mamba is extremely fast and extremely aggressive.
Can we stop talking about this terrifying snake, please?
But not all snakes are aggressive in that manner. Like they typically are defensive. They use their venom only when they need to, fend off something else. But also snakes have evolved into a way where they're overkill. A king cobra has enough venom to kill an elephant.
Yeah, so
Yes, the right person.
there is one modern scholar that I found, Roller, who believes that the venom of the asp or the Egyptian cobra would only be fatal if they were injected into a vital area of the body. So that goes with your theory of whether it's intramuscular, and how that wouldn't have the same effect. But they do believe that the puncture wounds are on her arm. I don't know if they were in the crook of her elbow or on her wrist, or if they were more in the forearm, because I know, like, if you think of drawing blood or IVs or like taking drugs or things like that, it's going to go into the vein in your elbow or at your wrist, or on the back of your hand. So I don't know the exact location of those bites to know whether or not it would have entered in a spot that was going to be a vital area for her. So, but just a little, tidbit. They also say that I guess cobras dispense all their venom in one bite. And so one snake would not have been able to kill all three women. They would have needed
People.
3 snakes. Or it would have taken way longer because I guess the cobra would have to like regenerate its venom. So that's another reason why they don't think that it was a snake bite. And so if there was only a snake, it was likely only Cleopatra would have been dead, maybe, by the time Octavian and his men got there, and then the maidservants would have been whatever happens to them. So like I said, it's, dependent on how long I guess it takes. But it's also possible that she may have, just like the hairpin thing's a really big one, but there was another thing that they said that she might have used to poke herself, and now I can't remember what I wrote or like what it was. I just didn't. Yeah, I actually wrote on here that it is harmless if it's ingested.
Oh, you wrote that about snake venom?
I forgot that.
So you did get okay. So you
Yes.
found that too.
Yeah. But there is a lot of belief that they choose to believe it was a snake bite, because this was very fitting for her royal status. Because the asp represents the Uraeus, which is a sacred serpent of the ancient Egyptian sun god Ra. It's also associated with a lot of other gods, and it's worn, like when you think of the Egyptian pharaoh headdress, like that is the depiction
Oh,
of
it's
a,
2 snakes.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can only picture it solely because I play the video game Smite, and Raw definitely is wearing that, and I believe Iset, which is the other way to say ISIS, because not every place likes to call her that anymore for a certain obvious reason. They both wear that on themselves, and other Egyptian gods too. But I know what you're talking about. How it's the 2 snakes, and then there's typically a circle in between both the snakes, making
Yeah.
like a crown almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It also, so yeah, I looked it up. Like Uraeus refers to the raised cobra, which is like depicted with its head raised up, and that's a symbol of royalty and protection. So it's often on the crowns and headdresses of the pharaohs of Egypt because it represents both Ra. And then there was also another god that I don't know much about, which is Wadjet, Wadjet, who I guess believed was believed to be the god of protecting the ruler and maintaining order.
Man, I used to know all of the Egyptian gods and goddesses, but I don't know like any of them anymore.
Yeah.
All I know is Khepri is a giant dung beetle or scarab that rolls the sun across the sky.
Nice.
Oh.
So also with Cleopatra's like alter ego being the goddess Isis, there's a lot of link between how significant snakes would have been for Cleopatra, being as like she is the embodiment of Isis, whose like thing is the snake.
And the goddess of magic.
Yeah. I guess though that there was another person who died by suicide via an ass bite, in what they believe was a curious manner. So they don't believe that this idea of dying by snake bite was exclusive to Egyptian royalty. So that
Mhm.
it's possible that they're only saying that because it's like what they believe to be the case, and that the snake is so important, but really, like, I guess it might be more common. But as far as I'm aware, there's only 2 instances, so I don't know how common that actually is. And
She
I
did, if she did use a pin, even it might not have even had been like, oh, she soaked it in venom and poked herself, or it could have been part of her ritual. If you said they completed suicide in a very ritualistic fashion, it
mm,
could have been her way of, uh, what am I not making an allegory? Kind of giving a nod to Isis.
mhm.
And like, I'm poking myself to represent the snake and snake bite, but it might not have had anything to do with how she actually passed. It was just her way of giving that nod.
That's fair. That's true. I had never thought about that. It's also thought that
I think
yeah, that's definitely interesting. Octavian might have ordered the death of Cleopatra and then allowed her to choose how she wanted to die. So I guess that was the case, that he was, instead of executing her, he was going to let her make that decision for herself. I don't know. Again, maybe that is kind of along those lines of like ritualistic suicide and things. Is it more
yeah.
honorary for her to die via suicide than it is for her to be executed? Who knows? I'm not sure. Like, I'm not well versed enough in like ancient times to know that. But I
Yeah.
think, like, I don't know, it's possible that Octavian could have wanted to avoid like sympathy for Cleopatra being executed, being as she was a very powerful feminine ruler, and that he would have maybe rather her completed suicide in that case, because then that doesn't look so bad on him for executing her.
Well, interesting in that time, by the sounds of everything you're saying, suicide wasn't as negatively portrayed back then as it is like subsequent years. You look at the last couple 100 years, it's known as the coward's way out.
Yeah, we don't look at it much that way anymore, though, in the mental
Exactly.
health field.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just talking like that's how they see it for that's how they see it for political rulers, whether it be this is quite the one to say Adolf Hitler. He took it, and
Yeah.
that's what some people say about him is he took the coward's way out, is what they say. But then you go back 1,000 years earlier, and it's honorable.
Well, that's why we try to use the terms completed now instead of committed, because when people would say that you commit suicide, that indicates it's a committing of a crime, because it was a crime to kill yourself in a lot of like cultures, and especially the Victorian eras and things like that. And so we moved it to saying completed instead, because that takes away that criminal aspect, and like there's less stigmatization then on the completion of suicide.
Okay.
But alternative theory, I know there's a lot of theories, is that Octavian was aiming for sole power, and so maybe he orchestrated the death of Cleopatra as a political strategy and using her as a pawn in his quest for control. However, that directly challenges many of his own memoirs. So that highlights, discrepancies in historical accounts and how people view those things. Weirdly enough, someone thought maybe she died of carbon monoxide poisoning from being trapped
Oh,
in the tomb.
Circled back to that.
I
Yeah.
mean, possible.
Yeah. So, which was interesting to me because there was windows and stuff in the tomb, so I really don't know how closed off this space was that would be the case. But I mean, if there wasn't necessary ventilation, that would make sense because humans expel carbon monoxide when we're breathing. And so, I mean, that's how carbon monoxide poisoning can become so dangerous if you're like, this is really morbid, but like suffocating in a casket. Like, is because it's carbon monoxide. Not only air is missing, but you're also breathing in carbon monoxide at the same time. But
Or a running car in a garage for a
Yeah.
prolonged period of time.
yeah, that's a little less morbid.
I mean, you can, trigger warning, you can still die that way.
Oh, absolutely. Just being buried alive is terrifying.
It's terrifying.
So the other part of the mystery of her life is the location of her tomb. So despite many efforts, it's never been found. So they do believe that they were buried together in what is, quote, a lofty and beautiful tomb near the temple that was dedicated to Isis. So they do believe that they were buried inside of the mausoleum that Cleopatra had originally had erected. But no one can find it. The main theory is that it lies somewhere in the city of Alexandria, which was the capital of her realm at the time. But it's difficult to explore because Alexandria's coastline has changed dramatically over the last millennia.
Also, when was Alexandria sacked?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Because I know that's a famous event in history. Is it the sack of Alexandria?
I think I didn't write when it was, but I wrote that was part of
the
it.
Crusade. Sorry, I just checked. 1365. A considerable while after, but the Crusades decimated that city.
Yeah. Also, natural disasters such as like tsunamis and earthquakes and stuff also decimated it. So a lot of the ancient city actually lies underneath the water. So that makes it incredibly difficult for them to try to find this tomb. So there's been expeditions to explore underneath the sunken parts of Alexandria. They have found a wealth of artifacts and structures, but there is no definitive evidence of a tomb. Obviously, if it's underwater, that would be kind of hard.
That's why you hire the people of Atlantis to help you.
Yeah. The most promising lead comes from the temple complex of Taposiris Magna, which is located about 30 miles west of Alexandria. So this directly like contradicts the belief that she was buried in Alexandria. This is more on the outskirts of it, not where the palace is. But the Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities believes it's either in it or around it because it has a lot of ruins that date back to Cleopatra's time, and it's been extensively excavated by a Dominican archaeologist, Kathleen Martinez. And she's the one who I alluded to earlier, who's been searching for her. So they've found a lot of coins, 337 of them to be exact, that bear her image or the image of her and Alexander the Great embracing one another.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is really interesting to me. They also had an assortment of pottery, oil lamps, and like figurines and stuff that they found as well. So they know they're getting somewhere. And that's expanded upon because they've so far found about 10 mummies in 27 tombs that they've been able to excavate.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot, which is crazy. Like that.
That's a lot.
To know that they have all
of
that there.
What year were they being found?
This is in like the 2020s. So
so they're not eating the mummies at that point.
No, they're not.
Did you know people eat?
I did know that. Some of them.
Did you know that?
Yeah, did you know that? Yeah,
People eat mummies
in the Victorian era.
Yeah, you take your mummy and you eat parts of it, which is
your mummy as if it's your property.
I mean, it was back then. That's how the British Museum came to be.
That's fair.
But yeah, you'd show off your mummy, and you for some messed up reason you'd have parts of it.
That's horrible.
Yeah, they'd use it in like medicine and paints and stuff too, I think. The paints might not be right, but like they would use it in medicine and stuff. Yeah.
It's still one of the craziest things.
I know some of that from watching Bones.
we just blew your mind.
But
I'm so upset.
Yeah, take a second, sit with that. How does that make you feel?
That's a big part of why there's not like as many mummies. Like,
oh my god,
they weren't going to museums; they were going to like private residences,
and they were not being treated well.
No.
That's one way.
That's rough, brother.
Yeah.
What the
heck? So some of these mummies.
We had to add something strange here.
That's fair. Oh, name drop. So Some of these mummies are adorned with golden masks, hinting that these were the mummies of very significant individuals in the Egyptian royalty. And so that's why they think that's part of the reason they think they're getting close, is as they get further into the excavations, they're finding more highly powerful people from the Roman royalty.
Cool.
I know. This is why it's so interesting to me, because I just love it. It's so cool.
Yeah. Like, to be fair, when I think about this kind of thing, I always do feel a little icky, because it's like, okay, these are humans.
Mm-hmm.
I understand they're thousands of years old, but it's like, okay, let them rest.
Yeah.
But that other historian side of my brain is like, I want to just dig in there. I want to find all this stuff. This is so cool. This is so fascinating. We're not going to eat them. We're not going to do that.
Definitely not going
to
eat them.
Look respectfully.
Caution sign, do not eat the mummies.
Yes.
Eat the mummies.
You should put that on a pin.
Oh, I'll put that on a pin. Absolutely. I'll send you guys one.
I love that. Definitely. Another thing is that they believe it's possible that the political and religious significance of Cleopatra and Antony's burial would have made it a target for subsequent rulers of the area who sought to erase her rule from the history books. And so it's possible that Octavian had them buried elsewhere and not in her mausoleum to downplay her influence, and might have ordered the destruction of her tomb to like remove her from like his rule, and to say that like he wasn't at war with a woman. That could be part of it, but
right.
Kathleen Martinez, that archaeologist, has long believed that her tomb is hiding somewhere in those temples' ruins. And in November of 2022, the team that she leads identified a 1,300 meter long, so 4,300 foot long tunnel in the temple of the Taposiris Magna. That they believe that is the one that they directly believe leads to Cleopatra's tomb, and it's 43 feet underground, which is crazy.
Wow.
I don't want to go down that tunnel. I want to go down that tunnel.
Let's
take a trip to Egypt, friends.
Honestly, I'd be down. I'm now an international flyer, so
fair enough.
But what they, I guess, believe is that her body was moved from the palace, the mausoleum in the palace, and then through this very, very long tunnel, this 4,300 foot tunnel, and then buried at the secret location that's at the end of it. They've also never found Antony's mummy, so they, obviously, because they haven't found hers, so it says that after Antony was embalmed, it says after Cleopatra had heard this in the first place, she begged Octavian that she might be permitted to pour libations for Anthony, and I keep saying Anthony. And when the request was granted, she had herself carried to the tomb, embracing the urn which held his ashes. So they don't believe that he's actually a mummy. They believe that he was cremated.
Cremated him.
Which is what's made it harder to like find his ashes, because you think of like an urn.
Yeah.
In that length of time. What I think is really cool is ground penetrating radar has identified additional sites below the surface. So that is allowing for temple excavations to continue. So they made the significant discovery towards like the end of her archaeological dig at the time, because as far as I'm aware, she lost funding somehow. I don't know if she got it back, but it was like a grant that she had for like a year, like over the summer, like in 6 months or something like that. But she uncovered an alabaster bust that they believe depicts the true face of Cleopatra. Which is where we get more of that like less traditional standards of beauty from, and that she wasn't a seductress, that she was really what we would consider to be average looking. But it features a woman who has a small pointy nose, pouty lips, and that her hair was braided around her head, which I think is pretty neat. That's crazy to exist from something that's BC so cool. Times. Like, that's so like wildly weird to me. They also discovered an alabaster mask with a cleft chin that they believe is Mark Antony, a massive Mark Antony's face, because ancient portraits of him show him having a cleft chin. So that is like part of the reason that they like genuinely think that they're getting closer to these tombs, because they're finding more and more things that are directly like related to Cleopatra and Mark Antony. So, maybe at some point we're going to be finding this tomb in our lifetime, which I just think is crazy.
Never do. So cool.
I know. It's just so neat. So neat.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so fascinating to me. There are a lot of critics of this who believe that who don't believe that they're buried at this site. They believe they're buried in Alexandria, or that those busts are not depicting Cleopatra, but rather other royal women or princesses from another part of the royal family there. I really couldn't find much about why they believe that, but I don't know if that's because it contradicts the beauty they thought she had. I don't know. That's just me assuming.
Because they got a tunnel. Let's just find out.
I know.
Find out.
I know. So another archaeologist, Frank Goddess, and I promise I'm almost done, has spent
Oh, you're fine.
25 years performing a geophysical survey of the Bay of Alexandria. And he has been able to determine that there's a lot of Ptolemaic structures that reside at least 16 feet underwater or under sediment. So they are finding structures from the era of her family's, her family's rule of the empire, the Ptolemaic era. And they found that there is a submerged island of Antirrhodos, and they also found remains of a palace that contains artifacts from her reign, as well as her temple, under the water, and
So cool.
using this geophysical mapping.
So is the place like sealed tight right now or no?
What do you mean?
Like, well, probably they don't make them sealed like that. Like, I was wondering if the building there was like closed off, so like inside the air. Yeah.
They don't know because they've never reached it. They don't know what it looks
Well,
like.
do they have an idea or no?
No, they have no idea. Like, not from what they've been able to find.
That's what I'm just wondering if it would be waterlogged or if somehow would still remain. I mean, it would be dampened there, but like not underwater. If that could happen.
They're really good at building things, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was waterproof. Like, they built the temple or the pyramids with aliens.
It's aliens.
No, we addressed earlier mammoths.
That's true.
It's mammoths.
It's mammoths.
Pretty sure they did that in a
Mammoths,
movie. I think they did that in the movie 10,000 BC. I think they
What,
did.
use mammoths to build the pyramids?
Have you guys ever seen the movie 10,000 BC?
Of course not.
I'm not.
I'm pretty sure they used mammoths in that movie.
I'm dead.
They're tusks. They're just really good at like water tightening things. Like they use their tusks to get all the crevices.
Yeah,
they're like caulking.
Yeah.
Do they want to come repoint our brick for us? That'd be really helpful.
Yeah, I'd like to employ one mammoth, please.
One woolly mammoth, please. This is so funny. This is the second time today I've talked about woolly mammoths because I talked about it at work today too.
So, second time on the podcast.
I was gonna say, it's like, what's the way that saying goes? If I had a time for every time that I talked about,
if you had a nickel for every time, you mean? If I had a time for every time.
Mammoths today, I'd have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
I think I said if I had time for every time.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting very tired. It's 10:47, so I'm trying.
Yeah. So
I have a couple more things to say, then we're done.
This is our longest episode yet. You know.
My bad.
There's something strange, people. Dragging things out.
Okay, so lastly, I'm just going to talk a little bit about real world stuff. So, like I said earlier, that Shakespeare wrote a play about this, literally called Antony and Cleopatra. And he briefly alludes in his play the idea that Octavian allowed Antony and Cleopatra to be entombed together. So like that, it kind of shows that that's like what Shakespeare believed to be the case, that they are together. Because in the last verses of his play, Act 4, Scene 2, he writes, "She shall be buried by her Antony, no grave upon the earth shall clip in it a pair so famous." So the idea that like no one should ever find this grave, but that they will be buried together for the rest of time. There's also a 1963 feature film named Cleopatra that starred Elizabeth Taylor as the Egyptian queen. There was also a 1917 version of the film starring Theda Bara and a 1934 production of it as well. So there's 3 different Cleopatra films as far as I could find. But my final thoughts on this before I ask
Well, you
y'all's
didn't
thoughts,
even put the fact that she was in Clone High.
because I don't care.
I found the clip of where he talks about it. I might play it for us after the episode, but Abe's foster dad tells him to verb the adjective noun. That is like the line. You
Okay.
gotta verb the adjective noun.
Jesus Christ.
So it's so stupid.
All right.
Ignore.
No, Clear, no. So, at the end of the day, it is no wonder why the world is so fascinated and enthralled by the last pharaoh of Egypt. For her life is shrouded in mystery and romance, and remains one of the most tantalizing puzzles of archaeology. And believe me, we all love a good romance book. So this one may or may not have a happy ending, depending on if you like Romeo and Juliet's ending or not. For me, I would have preferred a happily ever after, but then again, that would mean we would not be talking about her on our show if she did get her HEA. So instead, unfortunately for her,
HEA.
yeah.
I've never heard them say it that way.
Well, when I read books, I look for it, and in the description has an guaranteed HEA, and I go, okay, great. I don't have to worry that these people are gonna split.
Then there's me reading horror. There is no HEA half the time.
Yes. But either way, as much as I love an HEA, I had so much fun researching this one. And I hope that everyone else enjoys it too, because to me, there's just something so fascinating about other like human beings in a time that we just have no idea what it's like to be living that kind of lifestyle, and war and things like when war is in your backyard, like, and you have to marry your brother and then fight him for like reign of your own kingdom, and like you just never know. So, but
I'm going to say, I think her death, at least, she had to poison herself and do the snake thing symbolically.
That's fair. That's a good thought.
I never put in my thoughts earlier, and I just want to put it somewhere.
That's okay. This is the perfect time to share your thoughts.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on it?
Well, thank you for doing all this research and everything, because I learned a lot. She's a fascinating figure, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around it all. This is so interesting.
No, I would say, I think besides the mysterious death, I think the thing that is going to stick with me the most is the fact that, like, she did what she did through intelligence, and that kind of got pushed aside. Like, oh, she was just really pretty, therefore she got her way. Which I think it's important to point out. No, she was a really good strategist. She was really intelligent and very good at, like, politically, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's always important to point out, like when women are disenfranchised in the world, like based on men, essentially, like, and what men view as leading women to not be at the same level as them. That's some of the theories with Octavian and the way that he was, and that maybe he just was so, like, I don't know what's better. I was gonna say like afraid, but that doesn't. There's like a specific word I'm looking for.
Intimidated? Threatened?
Yeah, intimidated, threatened by like her ability to be that great of a ruler as a woman.
Yeah. He had to find some way to put her down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to maintain the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also don't think the snake bite theory holds a whole lot of water.
No.
Yeah. I don't either. I think there's something else going on. I don't really know what it would be, of whether she poisoned herself or not. I honestly believe that if that was the case, that she poisoned herself, because she was very well adept at understanding herbal concoctions and things like that. I guarantee she would have known. Well, I can't guarantee because I didn't know her, but I would assume that she would have known something that she could put together that would have been something that they could drink.
I think that's the most intelligent way for her to go. Like, that's a testament to her. Like, she knew what she was doing to make it as easy as possible. Also, symbolizing like the snake bite too.
Yeah. I think it makes the most sense that she would have taken poison.
Oh, and if she had a basket of figs and things, like, depending on what kind of like herbal concoction or whatever it was, it probably wouldn't have been that hard to slip it in the basket.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was looking back.
Easier than a snake.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was someone who wrote out what they thought that it was. I think it was wolfsbane.
Would that be
Oh,
something
okay.
available there? Because isn't Wolfsbane a European plant?
Well, they had a lot of
Mhm.
trade.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot you talked about the economy, and I'm like, who the heck talks about the economy in BC?
Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can find it. So, because there was a few things that, just for the sake of time, I didn't go through. But it says there's some people who believe that she ingested a fatal mix of hemlock, wolfsbane, and opium,
Okay.
based on what he believes to be ancient, like, toxicology, that she would have had
Yeah.
access to those things. So,
Hemlock will unalive you.
Oh, quickly.
yeah.
I'd also like to say if they ever do, I'm going to manifest it when they do find Antony and Cleopatra. Please keep them together, historians. They wanted to be together. Please let them have that. Don't take them apart.
Yeah.
Don't eat
That's my
them.
sentimentality. And
Don't
yeah,
eat them.
for the love of God, do not eat them.
Frank, she was saying something so nice. And then he went and wrote it.
I'm sorry.
I love that though. I love making that statement though. That like, please, for the love of God, just keep them together. That's what they wanted. Like, and like, if it was me
Sometimes I
and Frank, like, I would be so pissed if I was like, please keep
oh
me together with my husband, and then someone separated us. Like, I'd be like,
oh yeah,
that's the biggest disgrace to me.
like I will haunt you.
Yeah. Oh, I will haunt
We
your
don't
ass
need
so
to be
hard.
haunted by Antony and Cleopatra scientists. Let's not do Jumanji. We
No.
don't need it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and she's very smart. She'll know how to haunt you very hard. So, like, you don't want to do that.
A thorough job.
She will do an
Yes.
excellent job.
She'll send asks after you.
But anyway, so that's what I
I think
have for
I
Cleopatra.
think that's sometimes forgotten too. Just to wrap up my thought a little
No,
bit.
you're good.
Especially in finding like ancient peoples, it's I just think it's important to remember these were human beings.
Absolutely.
Like, it was a long time ago. They're still people. They're still deserving of that respect, and don't do to this person something that you wouldn't want done to your own loved ones. That's always just my like, we can be historians, but we can be respectful about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree 100%. So
There's my soapbox.
I'll stand on it with you. So.
Yeah.
But yes, that's what I have. Any other additional thoughts, anyone? Are we good to wrap up here?
I think we're good to wrap up myself.
All right. You want to do
Thank you again so much for having us.
Yeah, no,
Yes, of course.
thank you for coming here. And I just, before we get to the wrapping up, do you guys have, anything to promote here? By that I mean promote your podcast.
Oh, I mean, if you want to come give us a listen, we are Something Strange. We are on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube. We have an Instagram. It is something_strange_pod if you want to come hang out with us there. You can also send us a Gmail at somethingstrangepod24, like numeric 24 at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to, hang out with you guys and also listen to these awesome people as well.
Yeah, and you guys will we'll make sure to have you guys in our post whenever we
make it.
Yeah, sorry, when we make the Instagram post, man, I could not words all of a sudden.
It's like it's so late.
Yeah, so you guys can find them on our Instagram. We'll tag them. Probably do just like the collaboration post so it shows up on both, and you'll be able to easily follow them. Highly recommend checking theirs out.
Definitely.
I believe at the time this comes out, it'll be 3 days after you guys have your Titanic Part 2 come out, because I'm looking forward to that tomorrow.
No, it'll be No, tomorrow's Hatman.
Wait, the
Titanic Part 2 comes out later.
So you both are doing Hatman next. Ooh.
Yeah, because it's my week this time, or it's
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you did 2 in a row in the Part 1, Part 2, or the break. Okay.
We took a bit of a break between it because I was getting extremely sad.
That's so fair.
Oh, yeah. Well, you mentioned the Titanic Museum and stuff, and we did that on our honeymoon, and that was
we went and saw it. So
it's really good, but it's really
sad. It's very depressing.
Yeah.
Touching. It is heartrending.
Yeah. Tomorrow, the episode on the Hatman comes out.
All right, so
everybody go listen to that.
Yeah, check out the Hatman episode.
Tomorrow, that would be Friday. for everyone who's listening.
Friday,
So it's
the
definitely
25th.
out because this is coming out after yours releases. So
Mhm.
it is out. So go check it out.
Yeah, so go show them support, guys. And then if that's all, I'll do the
So,
last things. At least for us, if you guys are interested in the live stream to the Windy City Pear Fest, use code UUU for 10% off. A portion of the proceeds will go to greaterthanhate.org. It's going to a great purpose. So if you are interested, you can get your tickets online. Link will be in the show notes. And we will, we'll be there on the live stream too. Well, like, you probably won't be able to talk with us, but we'll be watching that way too, because we got some other life things going on then. We're really looking forward to that. And then if you're enjoying the podcast, check us out on Instagram at Unknown Unsolved Unseen, and go give us a like, follow, and then wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it be Spotify, Apple, anywhere else, there's so many different places. Leave us a like, follow, review. Every little bit helps. We appreciate all of it. And that's about it that I have. So, you guys ready for the sign off here?
Let's do it.
Same order as before?
Except with this
What did I say
time, you
last?
say the word the.
Yeah.
Unseen.
So I was saying, okay, sorry. It was a long time ago.
That's okay. I know.
So we make sure you put the word "the" this time
Yeah,
in front of it.
it's the.
Yeah.
Just it's a little different than
Sorry.
the beginning.
So
But
you ready?
yeah,
Remember,
to look for.
the unknown.
The unsolved.
The unseen.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Don't separate Mark Antony and Cleopatra, please.